Every family is dysfunctional. Whether you know you're dysfunctional or not is the issue. My family, for sure, I fucking hope they know they're dysfunctional. I love it, but it's like complete dysfunction. I don't think I would have married Jeremy if he put his underwear in the hamper. They say from an early age, your definition of like what a man is your dad.
I wanted to bring Doug to Florida. My grandma was like, no ring, no bring.
Oh yeah, they have the best sayings. Don't play the game without the name. That's what my grandma would say.
Welcome to Mic'd and Medicated. Hi, Caroline.
Hi, Eva. I'm very excited for this episode where we're going to talk about family dynamics. And it's even more fun because you and I really are.
We are family.
I got all my sisters with me. Boom, 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 boom. We are, that's all the words we know. Was that in the Birdcage?
Yes. Oh, that was a great movie.
Actually, that's such an apropos movie because I do think family dynamics really, they become elucidated when you're in a serious relationship or married and you're with another family. Your family's, you don't really know what the inner family looks like from the outside until you're sort of in it. And I love in the Birdcage when Robin Williams and Nathan, what is his name? Nathan Lane. And they are meeting their son's fiance. And obviously they're a gay couple and in Miami. And the fiance is from a very, very uptight, from DC. I think he's a diplomat and they're coming to visit. And like the son is freaking out and making sure that they take all the penises, all the erotic shit out of the house. And I think and they have this like pool boy and he's, completely just like they make him wear instead of a bikini, like an actual outfit.
I can't believe you remember all this.
Well, this is the best part. They're eating soup. I don't remember. And they forgot that they have dishes where they're basically like men just like, I guess it's just, I don't know if it's a circle jerk or something. It's like, right. It's like men and they're finishing the soup and they're basically, once they realize they're like, fuck. And they're like trying to take the plates of soup before the soup's finished. And the mother of the fiance is like, oh, what are they doing? Are they playing a game? And I just feel like my family is so they're straight. There's a husband and wife, but it's very much the Nathan and Lane and Robin Williams.
That was a fabulous movie, but that was like the original Meet the Fockers.
100%. I mean, that was actually one. I remember like they're like, get it out, Nathan Lane, and like a giant penis sculpture's being removed. And, they just had, and Nathan Lane, who's like literally a drag queen on stage is like wearing pearls and a sweater. And it's too good. But that also shows you, that you should always just be proud of your family, no matter how crazy they are. Like in the end of the day, like they fall more in love with the other family when they actually realize who they are versus putting on a front. Like he wants to hide who they are. Like, don't do that.
100%. We are going to be talking about how the family you grow up in really has a very strong imprint on you. And that brings us to
the word of the week.
Our word of the week is imprinting, and basically it is early attachment patterns greatly affect who you are, and they steer who you are drawn to as an adult in later life. And so when you think about how you were drawn to and selected and married the person you married, like there is some reflection of your family, whether it's the opposite, the same, like
or
a
what
mother
you wanted.
Or father or what you wanted in, the partner you choose. And so then, of course, like Caroline was saying, you don't really know the inner workings of anyone else's family till you're in it. But when you get married, you are then officially part of that family.
Right. Like I always thought, I love my family, but I didn't realize. I mean, I always knew we were a bit eccentric and filter free, shall I say? But I didn't. I don't even know if we even know the word filter. My mom's the kind of person, I love her, who wears her face. She doesn't have to talk, and you fucking know what she's saying. It's like her eyes are more expressive than most people's vocabulary. And I love my husband's family, but so when I was growing up, I was kind of like I would say the normal good one. I listened to the rules. I got good grades. I thought had a lot of self-control. Bring in my husband's family and I was like, oh, this is self-control. I am fucking crazy.
Right. But something about you signaled to Jeremy, like, I want this. Or maybe he realized that like knowing where he stood was better than being in a house that didn't share feelings and emotions.
Right. And it's true. Like in my house, like there's no, even if my dad's ignoring me, it's like I still know where I stand. Like no one's gonna fake anything. Like my dad will be like, your hair looks terrible. You know, like there's no wander.
Oh, the video you showed me of your mom.
Oh my God. That is so funny. Actually, I will say one of the things I do love about my family that I inherited from my dad is his love of taking videos of like the mundane. Like he's actually a pioneer. Like he used to take that giant camera and he would videotape like just like a normal morning. No one, usually it's like recitals and like graduations. And there's like, I'm probably like 3 months old and my dad's filming and my mom is
giving you a bath. I
think. A bath. And he's like, honey, oh my God, you look so ugly. She's like, 2 months postpartum and she like makes a retarded face at him.
She was very expressive with her face.
Funny. I was like, oh, you guys are funny, cute together. I guess it's like where I also learn like to be critical in a funny way, like is how we show interest in love. But
that's hard because if you grow up in a household that doesn't do that, you may not understand that that's affection. And like that, I think brings us to like an important point, which is your early formative experiences of love and partnership and being married are what you see and experience in your home when you're a child growing up. And so you don't know that there's lots of different ways to do it, but you also like those stick with you. Those are imprinted on you.
Or you think that's normal. Like you don't know what normal is because your normal is just your normal. It's like, I don't know what it's like to be the Queen of England. It must be lovely, but like, I don't know until I'm the Queen. That's a terrible example, actually. But this is another way to describe my family. Like, I'm the kind of person where I'm like, okay, like mom and dad, like keep it together when you like meet my husband or something. Where like it would be different where, Jeremy would want to keep himself together with his family. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like the reverse where like, I'm like, parents, control yourself. And he might with me be like, okay, Caroline, kind of don't be so crazy today,
Right. But
like the dynamic is different. I was more, my parents are the, what's the expression I'm looking for? The loose
cannon.
They're the loose cannon.
But he married you.
I'm the loose cannon.
I hate to say it. What you're saying actually makes perfect sense to me because he's like, when we're with my family, like hold it together. Don't be the loose cannon.
Right. And when I'm with my family in the beginning, early years, I'd tell my parents like, you guys keep it down. Does that make sense?
Of course.
Right. Now I'm just like, I kind of love it when their freak flag flies.
And I think your husband seems to enjoy it as well.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's not always fun if he's the brunt of the joke, but or when my kids have really adopted my sense of humor. I think in both of our families we value humor, which is something that is important.
That's super important.
I agree. But what was fun is I think because we could sit in here and talk and it would be about our family, but this is not a therapy session. But I think it will be fun if we interview each other and ask each other, because sometimes you need someone else to say a question that might not even be so, out there, but it might help you think.
That does also sound like a therapy session.
Does it? Not in like, I'm going to write down, okay, Eva is really fucked up because X, Y, and Z, or Caroline's a fucking crazy person. We already know that. Actually, before we do this, we should do the meme of the week because it kind of sets the stage for both of our families. Yes. No offense. It's a therapist saying, does your family suffer from mental illness? And the patient, no, they seem to enjoy it.
And the visual is a bunch of family members dancing,
like looking like
going crazy.
Do like in a mental institution. All right, so Eva,
but I just want to say for the record, I don't believe in a functional family. I think every family is dysfunctional in a good way, meaning like it'd be really boring to be functional. And I think instead, families are different in how much they reveal or hide that from the average person.
I could not have said that better. Every family is dysfunctional. Whether you're dysfunctional or not is the issue.
True.
And I think my family for sure, I fucking hope they know they're dysfunctional. I love it, but it's like complete dysfunction. I'm not going to comment about my husband's family because I feel like, they seem functional on the outside. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, they're functional. They're not as like, they're not going to, you know what it is? My family is much more like, let's air our dirty laundry because to them it's clean, but my in-laws have a little bit more.
They're more circumspect.
Yes, they realize that the laundry might be dirty and that other people don't want to see it.
Right.
So they just maybe they're more aware. They just, you know, they keep that hidden in the laundry room. So I respect both. Each way is his own way. And I'm curious how my kids feel.
But it's interesting because even though your family and Jeremy's family is opposite in that regard, your father and Jeremy both leave their dirty laundry everywhere.
Yeah, they do, which is what actually, no, seriously. Like I don't think I would have married Jeremy if he put his underwear in the hamper. I'd be like, are you gay? This is weird. Like they say from an early age, your definition of like what a man is your dad. So like for me, it was like, oh yeah, he leaves his underwear on the floor, or like he's very punctual and he's, you know, makes me feel safe. And the fact that he's always there, but he's a fucking slob.
That's so interesting.
And doesn't know where anything is.
My dad was very tidy and Doug is very tidy. Like he's neater than I am.
See, it's interesting.
So interesting.
Yeah, my dad would be like, "Oh, where are the scissors?" You know, like he doesn't know where anything is. Anything. And like
you say that about Jeremy too.
Doesn't know where anything is. I'm like, are you serious? Like you'll be in front of him.
That's so funny because Doug would say that about me. I'm always like, where's this? Where's that? And then
no, my husband needs like a handbook to our house. Like this is the first floor. In this room, we have X, Y, and Z. And then, you know.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I mean, that's what I think is normal. Because my mom was like the conductor and ran the show. And like, I also grew up where like, my dad respected my mom in the sense where like she was kind of the head. Well, I guess she always said she's the neck, he's the head, but the neck turns the head, you know?
Ooh, I like that.
Like the woman was in charge. Like you're like a very traditional Jewish household where the man is, you know, can be manly outside of the house and he just succumbs at home.
However,
oh shit.
I read a very interesting article.
This article makes me want to vomit.
For those who missed it, it was in the New York Times. It's called The Surrendered Wife. And I was fascinated by this article. So basically, it's a woman, Laura Doyle, and she is a self-described former shrew. And she thought she knew better than her husband as a young wife. She nagged him to eat healthier. She thought that she, you know, knew better what he should wear. And that she reluctantly, after their marriage was, as she called, in a ditch, started taking the advice she received from happy women that are happy wives.
She also said, I'm sorry, I think you should add this, that begging and cajoling, okay, only made him turn up the TV and drove him from their bed. I mean, yeah, that's called marriage.
So she basically started taking the advice she received from happy wives to practice gratitude, to apologize to her husband for disrespecting and emasculating
Wait, sorry,
him.
I got to interrupt. Is she Jewish?
I don't think so.
What's her name?
Laura Doyle.
No, that woman's, no. There's no Jewish wife that could do this.
Wait for this. She also believes that you should metaphorically duct tape your mouth so that you don't criticize your husband.
What?
Yeah.
This is a motherfucking psycho. Is she crazy?
Well, she's definitely not you.
Or you, hate to break it to you.
She should make herself open to sex anytime and relinquish control. But what she says is that instead of focusing on making your husband better, focus on self-care. Take care of yourself.
This is not self-care.
Do
this
what
is
makes
called
you
submission.
happy. And that trying to change your husband only makes you unhappy, but giving yourself self-care will actually give you the marriage you dream of.
But how is being open to sex whenever you want? You could have a fucking crazy period or feel like shit, but like keep those vagina legs open because your husband needs to have sex with you whenever he wants, or like you really want to say something, but you duct tape your mouth. That is not self-care.
Well,
that is called submission, and that is called get a new husband.
I think she's speaking your self-care language, like get massages, get your mani and pedi done.
I have nothing in common with this bitch.
But she says, which I do agree, women are fundamentally different than men. And she says, which I don't agree with, that a lot of women are controlling and consequently unhappy, and that becoming a surrendered wife will save your marriage and save you. So I don't know. It's a really interesting idea because, you know, I do often say to my husband and my kids, you can only control yourself.
Okay. There is a difference between focusing on yourself and not trying to change somebody else versus surrendering yourself.
Right.
Like being obedient is different than, okay, you know what? My husband and I might have arguments about X, Y, and Z. I can't change how he might react to me, but I can change how I react to him.
Exactly.
but not ignoring him. I can change the way maybe I'm reactive. Like I tend to go from 0 to 100, and he then, because he grew up sort of like with a lot of siblings, and he was very comfortable just kind of solo doing his own thing, and I was kind of like had a lot going on too, but I was like, no, I want attention.
It's just interesting. I also have a lot of issue with this, but I think what she's saying like rings or rhymes, for me, in that men need to feel respect and need to feel masculine. And rather than criticizing, if you just stroke their ego all the time, they'll be happier, and then they'll be more likely to do nice things for you, and you'll be happier, and you're then empowered. Like you're actually in control of the relationship. It's the neck head thing in a way.
This is a kind of woman who, like, 20 years. This is why the first suspect when a husband dies is the wife. When a husband is murdered, the first suspect is the wife. Because this surrendered fucking bitch, after 20 years of duct taping her mouth and having her legs wide open anytime he wants, is gonna fucking kill him. That's why. That is why the first suspect is never. It's not the housekeeper. It's the wife.
Right.
If there's murder, and I'm telling you, unless she's on a lot of pills, chill her out. But I would murder him.
Well, she somehow has made a career out of counseling marriages. But I guess it's all to say that marriage is really hard. So you're not both coming into marriage as a blank slate. You're each coming.
What does the husband have to do? If you're surrendering, what does he do? Just whatever he wants?
Exactly. That's what she's saying. But here's the thing. What I'm saying is, like, marriage is really hard, period. But coming into it, you're not both blank and then building something together. You're both coming with all of those early formative experiences, with sort of images of love and care, which may not be healthy, but they're imprinted in you because of how you were raised and the way your parents treated one another and treated you, how you interacted with your siblings. And so you don't really ever know the full extent of that until you get married and become part of the family. I would argue you still may not know if you are married to a family that isn't open.
That is true. But I have a question. Do you think, because if we're saying that like your earliest years are your most formative, do you think it matters? Like if you get married earlier, is that more likely to have a success? Are you more likely to have success because you sort of you build together in this sense where you're not so comfortable? Like, yes, your family is what you know growing up, but you're still malleable enough to like be able to kind of take both together. Does that make sense?
No, it really does. And I've given this a little thought. I think it goes both ways, and I don't think you can solve, or come up with a quick answer. I believe that either you can marry somebody young because maybe they fit or feel comfortable to the way you grew up, but then very quickly realize that is absolutely wrong for you. So getting married too young maybe doesn't give you enough time to evolve and realize like how to individuate and realize you may need or want different things than what you had. So that early marriage could be bad. But the flip side is, I think getting married early, you're more flexible and you're more willing to build a life together. You're less set in your ways. So I think once you reach a certain age, not that I have experience with this, but I have friends, where like it becomes harder to sacrifice, to compromise.
Right.
So
I do agree. Like I did meet my husband young, but I was kind of an old soul, and I had previous relationships where I saw a pattern of, okay, this is comfortable for me because this seems like I've experienced this in some form, of whether that's my parents' relationship or my relationship with my mom or my dad or a sibling. But I don't know if I want to repeat this part of that pattern. Right. And I was able to sort of like internalize that with a lot of therapy. Not that I needed therapy, but my parents didn't do anything wrong. I was out of the womb, like just I'm fucked up, I don't want them to take, my mom's going to be, don't take it personally. You did everything right. My kids will go to therapy one day too. But I had to really learn, like, okay,
that's the part of you that's an old soul, that you wanted to dig in and reflect and figure out what drove you, what was more on autopilot, what you wanted versus what you need. But I think no matter how much work you do, you fall into those patterns.
Well, it's also
to
like
some extent.
Sometimes you, like the previous boyfriends, let's say, had certain characteristics of, like, let's say my dad that I really admired, but then they had things that were totally different than I was comfortable with.
Right.
So that's what I mean. It's like to find the things that you love or that really work versus just see a few of those and then ignore all the other red flags.
Right. So, I mean, I guess in having this episode, we should talk about like, what was it like when you first met Jeremy's family?
Well, I met his mom. His parents are divorced, and I met his mom earlier. And actually, the funniest story is we were going to meet them in Nantucket. I was going to meet his mom in Nantucket. We hadn't officially said we were boyfriend and girlfriend, but we were flying down, and Jeremy introduced me. We were sitting together, and I was the window seat, and he was in the aisle. And sitting next to him in the same row on the other aisle was a girl, a very attractive girl. And he introduced me to her. He grew up with her as his friend. I was his friend.
Ooh.
So I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm going to meet your mom, and I'm your friend? Oh no. So I'm obviously pissed, and he talks to her the whole flight. It was like a 30-minute flight. And we get it. We land in Nantucket. We get in the Jeep, and he looks at me, and I'm steaming. Let me tell you, apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
I was about to say, you come from a family where like
your face, no subtitles are needed. Okay. He's like, you know that girl I was talking to? I was like, oh yeah, I know that girl you were talking to. You know, the one who said I was your friend. He was like, she's more interested in you than me. She was a, big lesbian. So,
but it still doesn't excuse why you're introduced as a friend.
It doesn't. It just made me feel better, I guess.
Okay, fair enough.
But you're right. Thank you for yes. But later that night he did tell me, asked me to be his girlfriend. But anyway, met his mom. I love his mom.
Maybe he wanted to make sure the family was okay before he officially labeled you girlfriend.
Yeah,
it's weird too. Like I was the
wanted
opposite.
to make sure his mom liked me at first. That's a good point.
Like
we had already had dinner with her that night, and she probably was like, "Do not let her go."
Aww.
No, I love his mom. It was really, I'll never forget that trip. We really had a lot of fun. The worst part of that trip was he did realize how horrible a biker I am. So this was like everybody was biking all over Nantucket. I did Soul Cycle. I do not. I'm a city girl. I don't know anything. I am not an outdoor rider. I didn't know the gears. And his mom at the time was in her 60s, was like, had to wait for me, was like to help me. Like it was so embarrassing. I'm like a fit person. And so thank God his family didn't judge me for my athletic ability, which I am. I just couldn't fucking bike ride. And nobody would let me up. So that was meeting his mom. I love her. And I love his dad and stepmom too. I would say meeting his dad and stepmom was, if you've seen Love Story.
Yeah.
I would say I was sort of like the Carolyn Bessette girl who's like, can't come in, it's a big family. They're very intellectual. They love talking about politics and history and American history. And, I'm a 20-something-year-old who's not talking about that. I mean, I love the Holocaust and stuff, but this was more like American history buffs where like, everybody eats at a big table and they eat at the same time. I was used to my family where meals are like under 3 minutes, like all different times where so it felt very much like I felt like I overslept and kind of missed the breakfast. And, it's like, what was her name? Edith, the Kennedy.
Ethel
Kennedy's like, oh, you missed breakfast, like because Carolyn's like in all black trying to find coffee. So I kind of feel like that was a little bit like meeting them, but I always really liked them. I was like, they're so normal. In a way, it was just like, they just seemed like a show, like in a movie. Like it was very, no, seriously, it was like movie-esque. It was like, just people, there was no fighting. There was no talking over each other. No one interrupted.
Right.
I was like, wow, it was civilized.
Yes, yes.
And not that my family who listens to this and will be offended is uncivilized. There's just a little bit more passion.
Texture.
A little more texture. What about, I feel like you have a similar story. Your in-laws are kind of similar. They're waspy Jews.
Well, I had the opposite of you in that Doug and I dated for, I don't know, 3-4 years before I met his parents.
Jesus, what?
Well, like I'm just trying to think. Maybe it wasn't that long, but at least the first year we dated when we were in college, his parents would come up to visit and he would leave. Be like, I got to go see my parents. I wasn't invited.
That would not have flown with me.
And his family was very tight. So it was the 5 of them. And I love his parents. Like couldn't feel luckier that they're my in-laws. But in the beginning, I was like,
that his choice or like, do you think that it was like they are formal or?
Yeah, I think they're formal. And I think they are like family first, family only. Or he was like, I just don't want to deal with explaining who this person is. That's possible. I don't know.
I mean,
and he has an older brother who didn't have a girlfriend. So maybe he didn't want to step on any toes and bring home the girl first.
That's very much like my husband's family where it's like order, like the old, like,
right.
It's very, yes.
Possibly. But, very early on when I was introduced, I was definitely held at an arm's length. it wasn't an immediate warmth of, oh, we are so happy to have, Doug's girlfriend. In fact, I distinctly remember we went to a restaurant in New York City and the guy was like, table for 5, right? And Doug's
You were
like,
the number 6,
no,
right?
we're 6. And I'm standing there and it was just like, oh yeah, we're 6.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think it's sort of that Jewish mother of like, although my mother-in-law never did that, but I could imagine like if
I feel like when my sons have girlfriends,
you're so lovely.
yeah. Like I want to be warm and inviting, but I also
too. I wanna be, like-
understand that if you're, I also understand that if you're more private or you're more focused on your children, until you know what's real and staying, you don't want to invest any time.
See, my parents were not like, they're not like that. They're very warm and in a way of like, okay, well, if this person is important to my daughter or, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like if I brought home like somebody who was not great, they would not like it. But again, it was more of like me. I don't know. I just felt like family was so important to me also. And like, I didn't realize that my family was different in some ways. So I didn't think I had to hide it. This was Jeremy coming to my childhood family apartment. We had not been dating that long. We went to an event like at the Metropolitan Museum and like I had to go to the bathroom and we lived close by and we went over and my dad had already met Jeremy. We had already gone to dinner with him. And so we walk into my apartment and my dad's hanging out in the den. He's eating frozen yogurt. Jeremy and I are sitting in with him and he drops a whole bite of yogurt in his crotch. Okay. And he takes his spoon, picks it up off of his crotch and eats it. I'm like, Dad. And he's like, what? I already met him. Can't I be myself? And like,
I love that.
It gets better. Okay. And then I'll tell you about the art. But so then I guess just obviously Jeremy didn't care, but I was like, oh, don't you want to see my bat mitzvah album? Probably like fucking shoot me in the head, And I'm like showing my bat mitzvah album. And my dad goes, wow, Jane, that's my mom. Jane, wow, she looks young. And then my mom walks in and he goes, Jane, you look so much younger in this picture. I mean, you look so good. And like Jeremy and I are looking at each other, looking at my dad. He goes, whatever the right answer is, that's what you look. And it was just a vignette of my family on every level of like my dad saying the wrong thing, coming from a good place.
Yes.
My mom checking in on everybody. It was just really our dynamic. And then he showed some art and there was a famous portrait of a famous porn star named Annie Sprinkles with like a large ring on her vagina, clitoris ring. Like,
oh, I don't know her.
No. And he goes, yeah, you don't know Annie Sprinkle? And and then when I went to his family's house, there was a lot of maps and really just very just beautiful art, like art that anybody would appreciate. Where my parents' art, I think a lot of it is my father's way of rebelling against. I can't imagine if I got that gene of like to rebel. But yeah, he's a rebel, and I think I inherited that. Just not with ugly art. No offense, Dad. But yeah,
I like a lot of the art.
Yeah, some of it's a little bit much, but yeah.
It's provocative and sometimes borderline, maybe X-rated.
He has something called the Daddy Fucked You series, and it's like cartoons with, it pushes the line a little bit. But
what about meeting your grandma?
Oh my God. Jeremy meeting my grandma. I love my grandma. She is alive. God bless her. She loves dirty jokes. I think Jeremy met her at a bat mitzvah. And I went to the bathroom for 3 minutes, and while I came back, she was telling 2 dirty jokes. One was they were both involving gay men. I'm not sure why. There were 2 men in the hot tub, and a condom floated. And what did they say to each other? Who farted? This was one. And the second joke. This is the first time Jeremy was meeting my extended family. There's a guy at the urinal, a gay man at the urinal with a nicotine patch on his penis, and the other guy says, "Does it work?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm down to 2 butts a day."
I just love because I know Jeremy, like he is like Doug.
This was a day bat mitzvah, by the way. This was a brunch.
A brunch. Oh my God, I'm dead. So when my
grandparents, I was uncomfortable.
Right.
Forget him.
But it's hilarious. It's like the grandma from the wedding. from the Wedding
Yes.
Crashers. I
Eleanor Roosevelt, the rug muncher, right? Is that the grandma?
My grandma in particular, like when we would go visit every year Florida, our extended family would descend on her home. And from the second day we were there of our week-long stay, she'd be, when you leaving? When you leaving? When's everyone leaving? I mean, she loved having us there, but it was just like her shtick. She wanted the mess gone. She wanted the food
Right.
gone.
So my dad's mom, my granny, was the opposite. She was like, why are you leaving? Why are you leaving?
Yeah.
You know?
But I remember I wanted to bring Doug to Florida. And my grandma was like, no ring, no bring.
Oh yeah, they have the best sayings.
My grandma
don't play the game without the name. That's what my grandma would say.
But like Doug had to really earn it. He could not come to Florida until we were engaged.
6 fucking years. He was dying to go to Florida. I mean, my parents, I definitely believe, and I'm still old school. You obviously can live with somebody, but I would not let Jeremy officially move into my apartment. I wouldn't really give him a closet space. Like, I made it hard. I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Tough.
You can't, like, why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free?
Yeah. Exactly.
I get that. So as part of this episode, we actually asked Claude questions about like that all of us might be interested in pondering or asking our spouse or friend.
Okay, what's a rule in your family growing up that you didn't realize was unusual until you left home?
It's a good one. Honestly, I don't think I had any rules.
Whoa, that's pretty telling.
Well, I
had a lot of rules.
I don't think I had it. Like, what kind of rules did you have?
At least like safety. Like, you can't have fun. Like, everything's dangerous. I would say.
I think that's messed up.
No, well, I get it. Yes, okay. My mom had a rule.
You also grew up in the city. I grew up in the suburbs.
That's true, but you should have some rules. My mom had a rule. I don't know if this counts, but she had a rule. Like, if I would go into a taxi, I'd have to call her with the medallion number.
Yes,
but that was pre Ubers and stuff.
That's good. I think that's, by the way, that was imprinted on you because I see you with your kids. You're very safety led and very, like, I don't think of you as an anxious person necessarily, but you're very anxious about your kids when they play.
True. One more rule. It's not a rule, but like they never skip a day of exercising. I didn't realize that wasn't normal. Like, I thought every family exercised every day, like went to the gym.
Right.
Vacation, not vacation, like every day.
We always had an Entenmann's cake in our house.
Yeah, different than mine. Okay. This is funny. Where do you and your partner come from? Do you come from different family cultures? And how does that show up in daily things?
Yes, I think, well, it's interesting. We do and we don't. We both can just like ignore something and keep ignoring it because we both either don't want to or don't have the.
So you're conflict avoidant. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess. But then I think about how have always been told my whole life that I'm so like.
I feel like
I
feel like you like take the bull by the horn.
I'm like an activist, but I'm also not a good communicator.
You're an amazing communicator. We're fucking have a podcast.
No, but I mean, like,
I'm like, over communicate.
For something I believe in, I will fight for it. I will stand up for what I think is right. But
what if you always want to be right?
But I'm not probably very good at sitting and listening and compromising.
Yeah, I hate compromising. Who likes compromising? A husband and wife compromised. He did what you wanted. I mean, there's so many.
But see that I agree with that. But why can't it just be that?
I don't know. You love that surrendered wife article. So I don't know how much you agree with that. She would not like that one. She would say, the husband and wife compromised. She did what he wanted.
Right. I'm not. You're right. I could never be a
Jewish
surrendered wife.
That's why Jewish men want to die before their wives. It's because we are told to be ball busters all the time.
Right.
My family communicates, but not really. It's like very passionate and more reactive. But we get it out there. Where I feel like his family is very organized in how they communicate, but they might not.
Like they discuss and you yell.
Exactly. They discuss, we yell. But my dad doesn't. We
so
yell,
but
and the men kind of ignore. I yell and he ignores.
Oh, I was going to say you yell and then discuss.
Yeah. I mean, Jeremy actually for a man is like a really good communicator when I'm not an asshole. Like when I actually treat it like I'm not reactive and don't repeat childhood patterns of me being like an annoying whiner, which was my nickname as a child. The whiner.
By the way, I think we both have that where if you grow up in a household where you're like you don't feel like you're heard enough. You just yell louder.
Yeah. And I think in all fairness to my parents, it's like, I was very like a big feeler. It's like, how much can we fucking talk about this? You know, like looking back, it was probably exhausting. Like to just talk to me.
Oh, well,
Well,
that's
not in a bad
good.
way.
That's good for you to think about when you're talking to Jeremy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'm as exhausting with my husband. I think I just want to be heard and validated. And I'm not always validated. But yes, I do think we repeat that. He's just calm. Like I feel like I think what's the difference between the way he grew up, or maybe it's his family or not, or just him as a person, is he thinks about the consequences of what he says before he says it. I don't do that. I didn't grow up in a family. I grew up in a family where we can say a lot of crazy stuff, and the next morning it's like it never happened.
You're measured, yeah.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun to be like, you're retarded. You're an asshole. It's like just a Tourette's bistro shitstorm. I know shithole was the wrong word, but it's just like a free for all.
Say it again.
It's like a Tourette's, convention. That's what it really is. It's just funny. I don't know. It's just I love my family. They are funny. Everybody has very distinct idiosyncrasies. And I think that's what makes them their characters. And I think that we would be a great show.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
There's like juice, there's texture.
Yeah.
Like my brother like slept over the other night and he like comes out of his room like in his wife beater tank top. Like this is a kid who grew up on the Upper East Side, you know what I mean? With tattoos everywhere. And just like opened the pickle jar and put his hands in like for breakfast, like.
And the best part about that is Jeremy then wrote Phil's name on the pickle jar so nobody else would touch it.
Exactly. Actually, yes. I mean, my husband actually and father are both germaphobes, which is where they're similar, but yes. So we're all characters. It's like The Hangover, Meet the Parents, Meet the Fuckers, that's really, but what we come from the same is like, I do believe we both of our families put our Jewish values first, education, family, and showing up for each other.
Well, that's a really interesting point that I want to just underscore, which is similarly with me and Doug. And I think that is like the important stuff. Like the values are enduring and need to be aligned. Whereas you can one can love the outdoors, the other could love the indoors.
The rest is fluff.
It doesn't matter about the rest. It matters that you agree on what you care about, how you want to raise your children, what matters in life.
Right. If you think of a jawbreaker, right? Like remember those big white jawbreakers? It's like you can lick a few layers and it's the same. Like the core of it is the same.
Yes.
It's just
100%
dressed up in different layers. And I think that is the most, of course. And that's why you bond. That's why I think you connect with your spouse. What did you inherit from your parents or your family that you are grateful for?
Honestly, what I inherited was that there was never any looking outward. It's like gratitude for what we have. There was never talking about money, talking about what other people did for a living, how much other people made, talking about who had what. It was never I would bring friends home, boyfriends, anything. It was the questions were always just about you as a person and what you enjoy. It was nobody ever said what does his dad do, or it just was never part of our lexicon as a family.
I actually agree. I feel like for me, I always learn that accolades and resumes and all that stuff doesn't really matter. It's how you show up in life and who you are, what you're doing now.
Yes.
That is what matters. My parents never judged anybody where they went to school. Did they go to school? It's what you do with your life. I mean,
yes.
It's not how you got there.
Yes.
And I think that stay true to yourself is important. Don't change yourself don't change yourself for other people, and never forget where you come from and who you are. I'm very grateful for that. I will never, no matter what happens with Mic'd and Medicated, when we become multi-trillionaires, watch out, Elon Musk. I will remember this couch starting out. We will remember this.
Obviously.
As we are in our gigantic yacht with our fucked up families, we will remember that.
Can you imagine mashing everyone together?
No, we would never do a yacht. Someone would go overboard. Could never be a boat, but that would be fun.
Right. By the way, that's a great movie too, Overboard.
I never saw it.
Oh, but it's sort of interesting in that she's awful, terrible, selfish, spoiled, and then she goes overboard and has amnesia. And the guy who
Oh.
she was really rude to, who was working on her boat, comes to the hospital, sees she's there with amnesia. Nobody goes to pick her up because all the people who worked for her or were in her life were like, yeah, we're so happy she's gone overboard. Like, we don't want to go find her. And then he, as a joke, takes her home because he's got 5 unruly children. And he says to her, like, you're their mom, you're my wife. And then he like makes her life a living hell by he's like, no, you have to scrub the floor every morning. You have to do the dishes. You have to take care of all the kids.
Funny.
But she kind of has these new formative experiences in this new family, and she falls in love with him and the children and this way of life. Does he ever tell her the truth? Yes. I don't remember how it ends. Duh.
Yeah, amnesia.
But I will say I loved the movie, but it's kind of similar. Like it's like that's the one way you kind of get another shot at like redoing your values.
Yeah, just someone throw you overboard. Okay.
Who in your family do you most want to understand before it's too late?
I feel like I'm really good at understanding people. I know that sounds really authenticist, but like I might not act on it, but I kind of like read somebody quickly. Do you know while I'm thinking?
Who in your family do you most want to understand before it's too late? I feel like a lot of people in my family are like more private and stoic, and like, whereas I'm like so emotionally available, hence this podcast, I'm like vomiting my life all the time. I feel like whether it's my parents or my husband or even my kids to some extent, like, you know, like I feel like my inner life is like also my outer life to some degree.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think not everyone operates that way. And so sometimes it feels like I feel anxious, or I don't want to be aggressive about it, but I feel anxious. Like I would like to know more the inner voice.
I agree. I mean, I think that's a lot of people in my family.
Right. But that's, by the way, nobody's deserving of that. Like if there's a reason they call it your inner monologue and your outer monologue.
Can it be, can we pick some? I know I'm asking you like it's a game. Can I pick somebody who's not here anymore so it is too late? Like I had wished I learned more.
Of course.
I feel like my grandmother, my granny, who like just everything was always easy and great. Like she obviously didn't talk about what was hard.
That's interesting. I would say my grandma too, in the sense that actually both my grandmas, I just didn't feel like my grandma on my father's side, I didn't spend a ton of time with, and she might have been willing to talk to me, but I just remember she was always in the kitchen talking to my mom, and I was always off doing other things. And then my grandmother on my mother's side, I really feel that, you know, she never talked about the past. Like she never.
Well, that was the silent generation.
Actually, I might be most like her in that she is not sentimental.
I am so fucking sentimental, so that's so crazy. But yeah, I think my granny, who was just like, there's no way, like she's such a fucking hard childhood and like wasn't a perfect life, but she was always just like happy go lucky, didn't complain, and everything was kind of on the surface. Like she didn't let it go. Like she didn't really talk about it. But I don't know. Did I not probe her or ask her?
She let it go. You're nothing like her.
Yeah, no, I mean, I am like her in family ways, but she was just so fucking grateful all the time. It's amazing. She just was like easy go, happy. Pretty awesome. I mean,
I think it's temperament.
Yeah, she grew up in a different generation. Like,
right.
Everything was a miracle. It was for her. Right. Like anything more than she had. Like,
but I feel like we should feel that way too.
Yeah, but it's hard when you have a lot more, you know?
Expectations or stuff?
Just no, like in general, like they grew up in the Great Depression. Her parents escaped pogroms, you know. I mean, can't replicate that.
Right. But I think, again, it's all relative.
It's all relative.
That's why they say like poor people can be way happier than rich people. It's not about like how well off you are, how comfortable you are, how much luxury you have. It can be just your temperament, your mindset. You see the glass half full or half empty.
Yeah, I think I am, without medicine, I'm my half empty glass looker. So I feel like with medicine, I'm now half full.
Is that why you fill the tequila to the top? So it won't look half empty?
Oh, you bitch. Serious? Good one. Good one. I like it.
Did we do book of the week?
Oh, no. Book of the week is Matthew Perry's memoir, which definitely shows you don't have to be a Friends fan to appreciate how fucked up his life was. really fucked up. And his parents were actors and like just like very free spirited. It was the early 70s. It was probably he was born in the 60s. And apparently he was really colicky. And his parents gave him, or his mom gave him, some opioid that they used in the 60s to calm babies. And it literally like rewired his brain to like crave opioids. And he pretty early on was a pain pill. What is it? Yeah, like a painkiller, opioid, alcohol addict. There were when his peak,
how many people would also have been addicts who had the
he
same?
Obviously had a propensity or predisposition for it, but it was crazy to me. Like when he's very skinny on those episodes of Friends, like in I forget like what year, he was having like 55 Vicodins a day and a handle of vodka.
Wait, how can you live on 55 Vicodins a day?
Because you have a tolerance. Like,
oh my God.
Like, it was so crazy because he was still, by the way, arguably one of the most brilliant comedic actors of the like kind of the sitcom days. Like he was on point and his lines, like he was fucked up on 55 Vicodins.
Is there a higher propensity of substance abuse in comedians? Because I think about Robin Williams and...
No, there's depression because comedians tend to be, if you think about it, like when I make a joke, it's kind of negative. Like I'm looking in the world and I see something negative, like opening a shampoo bottle that's difficult. I'm not like, ooh, this shampoo bottle has a pretty package. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this bottle?
Right.
And that's funny. Yeah, I think there's depression. I don't know if it's
okay. All right.
Painkillers. But yeah, Matthew Perry, great book. Unfortunately, he will not be there for you, but
no,
you should read that book.
His death was really tragic. And
it was.
And with that happy ending.
We hope you don't end up like that and watch a good Friends episode. This was really, really fun. And with that, we're going to mic drop.
Mic drop.